Hello and welcome to week 35 of the Ray of Hope Crochet Along. This week we're making the bubble stitch, which creates these big bubble-like 3D effects on top of your work. It's an interesting technique and you can create some really fun pieces with this. So how do we make it? Okay, so we're going to be using a 3.5mm hook for this one, and our first two rows are made the same way as usual. So you start with a chain of 22, and in the fourth chain from your hook you'll make a double crochet and double crochet in each stitch across. That turning chain counts as your first stitch, so you'll have 20 stitches. Then for row 2 you turn, chain 1, make the alternate turning chain over the first 2 stitches, double crochet in each stitch across until you have 2 stitches left, and then double crochet 2 together over the last 2 stitches. Okay, so onto row 3. You're going to turn, chain 1, and make the alternate turning chain in the first stitch. Okay, and then we're going to double crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2 and 3. Now in the next stitch we're going to make 7 double crochet all in the same stitch. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Okay, so all in the same stitch. So it's going to look like a shell at the minute, but actually this is the bottom half of your bubble and it's all just going to pop up like this. So this is an interesting stitch because you can make your bubbles bigger or smaller depending on how many stitches you make in the same stitch or across a few stitches, and you can actually make them run over several rows so they're really big, so you can have a really fun play around with this one. Okay, and then we're going to double crochet in each stitch until the end of the row. Okay, so including all those 7 double crochet in the same stitch, you should have 24 stitches in this row. So if you're just making small bubbles like these, we're going to make these over 3 rows. They're actually really easy to do. With the if you're making them larger over more rows, you've got to count a bit more carefully. And almost there, last stitch. And that's row 3 done. So you just have this little shell at one end of the row. Okay, so then we're going to turn, chain 1, and make the alternate turning chain in the first stitch. And all we're going to do for this row is double crochet in every stitch across. So that includes each of those 7 double crochet in the same stitch. So again you'll have 24 double crochet in this row. coming up to those 7 double crochet all in one stitch. Okay. So after putting all these double crochet in, we should see this start to balloon out a little bit. And last couple of stitches. And there we go. Okay, so you can see it's now starting to rise up a bit. If I straighten that out, it's just starting to balloon up to make that bubble. Okay, so row 5, you turn, chain 1, make the alternate turning chain in the first stitch. And we're going to complete our bubble on this row. Okay, so you're going to double crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so our next stitch, making sure I've got this right. Yep, so if we go 2 rows below, you've got the alternate turning chain here, 1, 2, 3 stitches. And then we started with the 7 double crochet in the first stitch. So this row needs to line up with that. So we've got an alternate turning chain, double crochet the next 3 stitches. So now we need to do a 7 double crochet together. Okay, so hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and pull through the first 2 loops. You're going to leave 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops. So we're going to be adding a loop onto a hook with every stitch. And you're going to do that for all 7 stitches. So you're going to end up with 8 loops on your hook. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and stitch number 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 loops on my hook. And now I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 8 loops. Okay, and that brings everything together. And now I'm going to double crochet in the next stitch. Okay, so I finished row 5 and we finished with 13 double crochet on this end. We've got that lovely nice big bubble. Okay, so on to row 6. Row 6 is a decrease row. So we turn, chain 1 and make the alternate turning chain 2 together over the first 2 stitches. And then we're just going to double crochet in every stitch across until we've got 2 stitches left, and then double crochet 2 together at the end. Okay, so we're bringing ourselves down to 16 stitches on this row. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish that, and I shall be back for row 7 and we'll start another bubble. Okay, so I completed row 6. So we're down to a 16 stitch count for our rows. See how lovely that bubble's come up. Right, so the next bubble. So for row 7, we turn, chain 1 and make the alternate turning chain in the first stitch. Okay. Right, Right, and we're going to double crochet in the next 10 stitches. 1, 2, no, I lie, it's the next 4 stitches, do apologise. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 and 4. I'm not staggering our bubbles, we're going to make them go in a diagonal line up there. So it's next 4 stitches. Okay, so now in the next stitch we're going to make 7 double crochet in the same stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So we're making all our bubbles in exactly the same way. Okay, and we're going to have 3 in total for this ray. So once you've got your 7 double crochet in the same stitch, you're going to double crochet in each stitch across until the end. Okay, so you should have 22 stitches in this row. It's just because of all those extra double crochet in the same stitch. Okay, and then for row 8 you're just going to double crochet in every stitch. So you'll turn, chain 1, make your alternate turning chain, and then double crochet in every stitch. You'll have 22 stitches again. So I'm going to carry on with that, and I'm going to come back to you for row 9, where we will finish off our bubble even. Keep calling them bubbles. Right, I'll see you at row 9. Okay, so at the start of row 9, so you can see the bubble's starting to rise up there. We've got all those extra stitches in. Okay, so we're going to turn, chain 1, and make the alternate turning chain in the first stitch. And then we're going to double crochet in the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3 and 4. And now we need to do double crochet 7 together over our bubble stitches. So yarn over into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, then yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then repeat the same for the next 6 stitches. Okay, so you'll end up with 8 loops on your hook. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through all 8 loops. Okay, and then double crochet in the next stitch. I always make the next stitch straight away because it can be easy to kind of let go and you have to do it all over again. And there's our next bubble. Okay. And then to finish the row, just double crochet in every stitch across. Okay, so that is row 9. Row 10 is another decrease row. So for row 10 we're just going to turn, make the alternate turning chain 2 together over the first 2 stitches, double crochet in each stitch across until you've got 2 stitches left, and then double crochet 2 together over those last 2 stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that off, and I shall see you at the start of row 11 where we'll make our final bubble. Okay, so on to row 11, and this is going to be our last bubble for this ray. So to turn, and you chain 1, make the alternate turning chain in the first stitch. And then you're going to double crochet in the next 4 stitches. 1, oops, 2, 3, and 4. And then in the next stitch we're going to make 7 double crochet in the same stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, and then just double crochet in the rest of the stitches in the row. Okay, so you should have 14 stitches. No, 20 stitches, sorry, in this row. You'll have 14 stitches in the row below. Okay, and then row 12 is going to be a turn, chain 1, alternate turning chain in the first stitch, and then double crochet in each stitch across. So you'll have 20 stitches in row 12 as well. So I shall carry on with that, and I shall see you when we get to row 13 and finish our bubble. Okay, row 13, and this is the last row of bubbles, and then we'll go back to our ray as normal. So we're going to turn, chain 1, make the alternate turning chain in the first stitch. Then we're going to double crochet in the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we're going to do our double crochet 7 together. So the same as before, you just start your double crochet and leave the last 2 loops on your hook. Okay, so over the 7 stitches you'll end up with 8 loops on your hook. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 7, and 8 loops on your hook. Then yarn over, pull through all 8 loops, and then double crochet in the next stitch. There we go. So we've got our bubbles just going up the side of our ray there. Okay, and we're just going to double crochet in each stitch across. Okay, so this is the last row of bubbles. Row 14 is a decrease row. Okay, and then you finish your ray as we would as usual. So your decrease rows for this one are rows 14, 18, 22, 26, 30, 34 and 38. There's 39 rows in total. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this ray, and I shall see you in a moment to show you what we're doing with our slip stitch border. Okay, so I finished the bubble ray. You can see these lovely bubbles all in a row. Okay, so for your slip stitch border, you're going to make 2 slip stitches into the side of every row. Okay, and you're going to make 1 slip stitch across each stitch across the bottom. So you can have 20 slip stitches across the bottom, and remember the last row of the ray, you make 2 slip stitches on one side and 1 slip stitch in the other. So you'll have 78 slip stitches down one side and 77 down the other. Once you've done that, you can weave in your ends and attach to last week's ray. So I hope you enjoy this stitch, and I shall see you next week for week 36. Bye for now.